Well, good evening. We're having a late night live stream tonight because I felt like it. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the update from the weekend rescue, okay, of the soldiers in Iran. And it's Tuesday right now in Iran, and this truth post from President Trump is relevant right now. We don't know what the situation right now in Iran is. I haven't been checking the updates, but it's Tuesday, and Trump sends this message to Iran, to the IRGC, and says that Tuesday, will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. Now, we're going to be watching the press briefing that he had a few hours back. I would like you to let me know your thoughts in the chat, because I'm just going to be hanging out with you. Usually the live streams have a constraint of about 40 minutes, but tonight I'll just be hanging out with you, listening to the press conference, reading the comments from some of these posts, and also reading the chat. I want to know what your thoughts are about this. Already we're having I will call them former allies of President Trump freaking out about the fact that A, he used the F word in this post on Easter Sunday, and B, that he's promising to bomb bridges and power plants. And they're all freaking out and pulling out their hair. And personally, if you've watched me long enough, you know I don't like profanity. I don't use profanity. I don't like profanity. But whenever anyone chooses to use it, it's their prerogative. If President Trump uses profanity in his posts, I'm not comfortable with it. Does it mean that his policies, where it comes to the America First policy and how he's been working on the economy over the last year, all goes into the trash? I don't agree, but it appears that a few Trump allies or former Trump allies believe that that is the case. So I would like you to let me know your thoughts in the chat. Already, we have people in the comments section saying things like, this dude has truly lost it. Well, where were they when Biden was falling up the stairs? Okay, so you have these characters on social media trying to sound as if they know everything about everything, and that they have this secret back door into the workings of President Trump's mind. Now, sometimes I might sound like I do, but I actually don't. I know that, he thinks more like a businessman. And whenever he does things, I believe that he is working an angle as a businessman, trying to get an advantage for the United States of America. So there's always going to be people like this, freaking out on social media. It's Tuesday right now in Iran. Hi, Intergalactic Wrangler. Good to see ya. I'm glad you could join. I didn't know I would have anyone on. So I'm streaming right now on OBS directly, so I can't show anyone's chat on the screen. We're having we've been having some trouble with the technology with Restream over the last month, and I've been missing streaming on OBS. So I'll just tell the truth about it. I've been missing streaming on OBS. So I'll just show the chat for a bit and hide it. So this is OBS, okay? So let me know your thoughts about what's happening in Iran. Now, I'm going to let President Trump brief us on the rescue mission, and we're going to be talking over the briefing. This is a watch party. We're watching this together We're going to be talking. Let's assume that we're sitting together. You have your popcorn, someone else has their soda, someone else may have beer. We're sitting down and we're having a conversation around this speech. President Trump here is briefing us. This is the Department of War's feed on the speech. So we're just going to hit play. Let me know how the audio is coming out on your end. Okay, if anything goes wrong with the audio, just let me know. I'm watching the chat and I'm just going to, respond as quickly as I can.
It's a great honor to be with you, and happy Easter. We had a great Easter. This is one of our better Easters, I think, in a lot of different ways. I can say militarily, it's been one of the best. So, good afternoon. We have quite a bit to discuss. We'll go into pretty good detail. And we have the people that are most involved. We'll give you exactitude. And we're here today to celebrate the success of one of the largest, most complex, most harrowing combat searches. I guess you would call it a search and rescue mission.
Admiral Nelson Rum. Nice.
Generally, when planes are knocked down,
I've got
when you're fighting
I've got herbal tea in my cup.
An evil group. You can't really do this because you send in 200 men to pick up one, and it's something that's usually not attempted as much as you want to attempt. And bad things happen to that one or two. And in this case, we did two, and it might not have been attempted before, but we did. And we had great talent. We got a little luck too, I would say. And we were helped by a lot of people, a lot of great people. And it was an honor to be involved with it. It's very historic. This is a rescue that's very historic. It'll go down in the books. Late Thursday night, an American F-15 fighter jet went down deep inside enemy territory in Iran while participating in Operation Epic Fury, where we're doing unbelievably well, at a level that nobody's ever seen before. The entire country could be taken out in one night, and that night might be tomorrow night. Both members of the crew ejected from the aircraft and landed alive. On Iranian soil, I immediately was asked to make a decision. I ordered the U.S. Armed Forces to do whatever was necessary to bring our brave warriors back home. A risky decision, because we could have ended up with 100 dead as opposed to 1 or 2. It's a hard decision to make. But in the United States military, we leave no American behind. We don't do it. Within hours, our armed forces deployed 21 military aircraft into hostile airspace, many flying at very low altitude, being shot by bullets. You bring rifles into play when you're going that low, but there are also certain advantages. And in broad daylight over Iran for 7 hours, at times facing very, very heavy enemy fire. We have a helicopter that's got a lot of bullets in it. It's amazing. We just realized how good those weapons are. Our machines are. Nobody has the equipment that we have, and nobody has the military that we have. Not even close. We're the most powerful military anywhere in the world by far. The flight crews and warfighters aboard those aircraft took extraordinary risks to rescue their fellow service members. This first wave of search and rescue forces successfully located the pilot of the F-15, and he was extracted from enemy territory by an HH-60 Jolly Green II helicopter. Fabulous machine as our warriors faced gunfire at very close range. It's amazing that when you look at the machinery, what happened, that nobody was even injured. Meanwhile, the second crew member, a weapons system officer, highly respected colonel,
it was,
had landed a significant distance away from the pilot when you're going at those speeds. Even if you go out 2 or 3 seconds
you
later,
too.
it's miles and miles away because you're going fast.
I've got the night owls
quite
up
badly and stranded in an area teeming with terrorists from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps rough group, as well as besieged militia and local authorities. Many, on top of everything else.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking over the speech. Some of us have heard. If you haven't heard the speech and you want us to shut up, we will.
Tremendous incentive to find this.
Okay, we will.
Despite the peril, the officer followed his training and climbed into the treacherous mountain terrain and started climbing toward a higher altitude, something they were trained to do in order to evade capture. They want to always go as far away from the site of the
it's been a rough week for you?
You want to go as far away.
You mean for the IRGC or for you, Intergalactic Wrangler? It's only Monday.
And it was an amazing, amazing thing. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to.
It's only Monday.
His location. They have a
it's Monday here. It's Tuesday in Iran right now, and I'm wondering
on them at all times.
I'm wondering if anything has happened in Iran. Anyone know anything?
Lots of battery space, and they're in good shape.
Oh, for you.
And this one worked really well. Amazingly, saved his life. We immediately mobilized a massive operation to retrieve him from.
You can send me an email or private chat just to let me know what's going on.
Going higher and higher. The mountain kept getting rougher and rougher, and really very, very hard to find.
It's crazy. I had one of those weeks last week.
155 aircraft.
Last week was rough for me.
Bombers,
really
fighters,
rough.
48 refueling tankers, 13 rescue aircraft, and more. We were bringing them all over, and a lot of it was subterfuge. We wanted to have them think he was in a different location because they had a vast military force out there. Thousands of people were looking. So we wanted them to look in different areas, so we were scattered all over like we were right on top of them. We had 7 different locations where they thought, and they were very confused. They said, well, wait a minute, they've got groups here, they've got groups there. It's amazing thing. I was listening to these great people, these great generals. General Raisin Kane was amazing, and Pete Hegseth was amazing. But I listened to the whole thing. It was pretty amazing. So they had all these different sites where everybody thought he was located. We think we have him over there because they have 9 planes circling a little area that's 25 miles down the coast. So in a breathtaking show of skill and precision, lethality and force, America's military descended on the area, the real area, engaged the enemy, rescued the stranded officer, destroyed all threats, and exited Iranian territory while taking no casualties of any kind. The heroic F-15 weapons system officer had evaded capture on the ground in Iran for almost 48 hours. That's a long time when you're in tough shape and when you're bleeding. It's a long time. When we left...
Look, okay, so I have to pause this, okay? These guys in the military, and maybe you, Intergalactic Wrangler, because you hunt. I think you hunt because you talk about preparing deer and stuff, so I think you hunt. Guys in the military are built differently. This guy had either a sprained ankle or a broken ankle, I'm not sure, and he kept going. Okay, for 48 hours, he kept going. It's crazy.
We had 2 large planes, pretty old planes. He carried a lot. We needed a lot more equipment going in than coming out, obviously, because going in, we needed to be able to scale mountains, and we had a lot of equipment. But the sand was sandy, wet sand, so we thought there may be a problem taking off because of the weight of the plane, and then we also had all the men jumping back onto the planes, and they got pretty well bogged down, and we had a contingency plan, which was unbelievable, where lighter, faster aircraft came in, and they took them out. We blew up the old planes, and we blew them up to smithereens, because we had equipment on the planes.
I think most of us have heard this speech. I'm just going to talk over it. So, guys,
taking it off. So we didn't want anybody to have. We have the best best equipment
Why
anywhere in the world. We
why
didn't
is
want
it
anybody exactly
that there are people
anti-aircraft and other equipment.
why is it that there are
So these
people
were large planes,
on mainstream media? I saw something on
and we had
X
faster
where one
planes
person.
and they were able to.
Okay, I'm gonna
land on the
pause
same
because this feels weird. Okay, so guys, okay, so let me know in the chat. When you watch people live stream and do watch parties, okay, like this, do you feel comfortable with pausing and speaking or just talking over the video? Sometimes a mix of both is okay. I don't want to stretch out the live stream longer because if you keep breaking it, it's going to be very long. So I'm like, I want to know how you feel about it. Talking while stuff is playing in my ear is really distracting for me. All right, so maybe, well, it's always been stuff that distracts me. I was about to play the age card, but I don't think so. When I was younger, it was always that way. Let's see. Have come true, but the timeline was a bit off. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by that, intergalactic wrangler. So I've seen people who essentially have had very strong aversion. That means they don't like the idea of talking about American exceptionalism. Well, this is something that comes from Americans. And I think that people like that essentially need to be, I don't know. Well, it just feels like there's something wrong with them. Okay, there's something very wrong with people who see their country excelling. The United States of America, yes, has its flaws. Every country has its flaws. But when you see your country doing things like we just saw over the last weekend with this rescue, and you have people who just, it's almost like they want America to fail. And even when America is excelling, they want to beat down and tear down America in the middle of that success. It feels weird. Okay. And I know that there are people who think they have good reasons for feeling that America shouldn't be celebrated. But as someone on the outside looking in, I think that it is wrong for you to pull down your country when your country especially has achieved something as monumental as saving the lives of these American soldiers. So it's just something that kind of came up while this was playing. And I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel about American citizens who essentially hate the military or hate America so much that they would rather see America fail than succeed? It's just something that's, that just came up. I just want to know. It's a weird thing to watch, actually.
Planes, because we had so much equipment that we need. We took 3 helicopters over there, which were very strongly used, and
yeah, it's mostly leftists. Mostly.
If you see it, you wouldn't believe it. They came off the plane, and these guys had them. The rotors were off. They rebuilt these.
It's mostly the leftists,
and that was one of the more amazing.
I don't know
things.
why, but
small.
It's Marxist communist training.
Very small.
That's what it is.
To certain areas.
That's what it is.
They got them off the plane, and they rebuilt all 3 of them in a matter of less than 10 minutes. It's pretty amazing what the genius of these people. Who would think that? You'd think it would take 5 days to build them. And in some companies, it would take 5 days, and they wouldn't do it well. But they served us well. As Commander-in-Chief, I never forget the extraordinary risk taken by the warriors that we send into battle. And the genius, think of it, having a contingency of 3 planes waiting because we think the sand is...
And the other forces that you're mentioning are people who aren't American citizens operating within the United States against America's interests.
But to have a contingency,
all right, those people should be kicked out.
Right in the middle, this was sent.
Straight up kicked out.
Right you would call it.
All right, so let me know what you think
a movie for
in the
location.
chat.
And,
Should these people be allowed to stay, or should they be kicked
These
out?
planes came in, those pilots
Just a question.
so quick and got out of there. Everybody got aboard and just got 15-minute intervals. One load out, one load out, one load out. The three. It happened, and we were watching, and we said, "That's amazing." It's, in many ways, I was almost more impressed by the contingency that we had than.
All right, I'm going to talk about Marxism. I'm going to wait for him to wrap up his
For every single one of them, and the talent, the genius is not even talent; it's genius. It's the whole ball game, every one of them.
Okay, so let me just stop. So why Marxism? Marxism is the original leftist ideology that essentially wants to make a play for power by convincing the people who have it that there's something wrong with them having the power. So let me give you one of the things that Marxists preach. They believe that there shouldn't be any private property. So everybody who has resources or money should allow the state to take care of the money and distribute the resources evenly. Now, America has become the most powerful country in the world because it is ground zero for capitalism. Now, when I say ground zero, I might be exaggerating. Capitalism has always existed in the West, in Europe, England, Germany, Holland, and so on. But America took it to the next level and has built great wealth through trade and has become the model for capitalism. Marxists, who have already destroyed a lot of economies in Europe, have moved on to the United States because this is the next big fish. They need to take over the reins of government, take over the reins of the economy, and drive it into the ground. For them, they don't see it as driving it into the ground. It is essentially all about power. Okay, it's essentially all about power.
If you look at what we did with Maduro.
Intergalactic Wrangler, let's see. Maybe give them a job on a farm. Oh, we tried that, but they did it so wrong and created racism. Exactly. Like these people, and I'll say it very clearly, these people cannot build anything. They wait for things to be built, and then they turn around and say, okay, now that this is built, it's unfair that the people who built it and should be rewarded for building it are getting rewarded. They want people to do all the work, and then they show up and take up all of the profit from the work. That is Marxism. So for a group of people who didn't do any work to make America what it is, they show up and they just want America to give up all of the influence and power that they've had and let them run things. Okay? Democrats.
Military compound, a massive, with thousands and thousands of soldiers, and within a matter of minutes. And he lived behind iron doors. There were steel doors, broke them down so quickly. And within almost minutes, he was in the back of these planes.
You're welcome, Intergalactic Wrangler.
Incredible. We have incredibly talented people. And if the time comes, we move heaven and earth to bring them home safely. We're going to bring our people home safely. I want to thank every member of the U.S. Armed Forces involved in these historic operations. They really were historic. It's just not something that's done. And you'd understand it. Not that they don't want to do it, but when you're going into areas, when you look at these helicopters, when you look at the amount of bullets and everything else that they took, when you go into these areas, you don't come out like we came out. God was watching us, I tell you. Well, it was the Easter, we were in Easter territory, I guess, but God was watching us. Amazing. Because when you look at the machinery, they took They took damage.
Oh, and one more thing you notice about Marxists. Marxists hate it when you give credit to God. Okay, and when I say God, I mean the God of the Bible, the Holy Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They have this revulsion when anyone gives any credit to God for anything. They want to be the ones giving the credit. They want governments to be given the credit for things that happen. So religion, Judeo-Christian religion, is something they hate. Intergalactic Wrangler says, amazing and terrifying, the technology of our military. Look, there is technology. Okay, guys, you're seeing stuff. You're going to get to see the kind of stuff I deal with on the screen, and I'm just going to do something about this. Sorry about that. So there is technology that the United States military has access to that is absolutely terrifying, and that is the reason they dominate the world. The United States military is the premier fighting force on the planet. And everyone in the world should be comfortable that the United States is, because the United States Constitution keeps tyrants from taking over that power and using it on American citizens and on the rest of the world. So that is a beautiful thing to watch, where we are comfortable with the United States being the most powerful fighting force on the planet. Okay, so for those who don't like that picture or like that I said that, who would you want to be the premier fighting force on the planet? Russia, the CCP, China, North Korea. Okay, who? So we are completely comfortable with that, intergalactic. We are.
It tells you, first thing I said is, these are unbelievable machines, how they flew back. Not even much of a problem. But these two extraordinary rescues, because it was two, and as you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour, and then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker, and talked about...
Most of us are good people. We have to fight for it.
We said that
and
there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out, because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail.
All right. So someone within the administration leaked the details of the fact that there was a second pilot who was still missing. And that person leaked the information to the press. And the press foolishly made that public. Look, whether leftists in America want to believe it or not, America is at war. And when Americans are at war, American lives are at stake. And when you leak information like that, that could risk the life of an American soldier on the battlefield, there's a problem there. Okay, so I agree. Now, of course, we're going to see the usual suspects crying and mewling about First Amendment, protecting the press, and all the usual things that they like to roll out whenever it's time to get the consequences of their stupidity. But we'll keep watching. I hope they find that person, because this was genuinely frightening. I'm not an American citizen, but I was genuinely frightened about the prospects of this soldier being captured. The Iranians would have made it a spectacle, and it would have been horrific to watch. So I'm so glad that he was rescued, and I hope that they find the leaker, and I hope that they prosecute that guy. I hope he goes to jail or she goes to jail. Okay, I'm genuinely rooting for that.
And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do. Because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, but there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot. So in addition to a hostile, very talented, very good, very evil military, we had millions of people trying to get an award. So when you add that to it, but we have to find that leaker because that's a sick person. Probably
Yep,
didn't
I
realize
agree.
the extent of how bad it was. I can't imagine that the person did, but we're going to find out. It's national security, and the person that did the story will go to jail if he doesn't say, and that doesn't last long, and I think everybody would understand it. They put this mission at great risk. They put that man at great risk, and they put the hundreds of people that went in looking for him, because everyone now knows that we're going in. Over the past 37 days, America's armed forces have carried out more than 10,000 combat flights over Iran, unheard of.
What?
Striking more than 13,000 targets. The F-15 we lost last week was the first manned aircraft downed by the enemy in this entire operation, with thousands and thousands of flights. You got
10,000.
You know, eventually you get lucky. But we got lucky too because we got both of them back. But it's a record that is unparalleled in the history of military air operations. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. It's such an honor to be involved with it. We were up late at night, and then we were waiting for those contingent planes to come in, and we said, come on, let's go, get in, because they're waiting out on this farm without a runway, with wet, crummy soil, sand, mostly sand, wet sand, and it eats planes alive. And we're waiting, and we're saying, I hope that one can land and take off. And they came in like magic, boom, 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 one after another. It was like genius. I'm so impressed by that. Because we were a little concerned. We said, boy, if they don't get in and get up fast, we're sitting in them. And that's called Iran Prime, right, General? That's where the whole bet is. And here we are sitting there waiting for a plane, but they came in so fast and so hard, and these guys knew exactly what to do. Let's go, come on, get in, let's go, pwah. One right after another, not at the same time. They don't want to come at the same time. They had to come right after each other. They didn't have any room. There was barely any room to land. Tiny little patch of very wet earth and sand. So I'm so proud of the people that I have standing up here with me, and many others that worked. I mean, so many. Steve Witkoff's over here. He's doing fantastically. Jared Kushner. But the people that are here, the job they did is amazing. And I think I'm going to introduce the head of the CIA, and he is a man who, he's central casting, okay? If we cast a movie, he's going to play the head of the CIA. He's one of the few. John Ratcliffe, he did a phenomenal job that night. He did something that I don't know if you want to talk about it. If you want, you can. I'm not sure he's supposed to. I'm not going to talk about it. But the CIA was very responsible for finding this little speck. It's like they used an expression on one of the shows. A general was talking about, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, finding this pilot. And the CIA was unbelievable. and you may, if you can, you'll talk. It might be classified, in which case I'd have to put him in jail if he talks about it. And I don't want to put him in jail. He doesn't deserve that. So, John, do you want to say a few words? Thank you.
Now, isn't it refreshing to have a CIA that actually does the job it's supposed to do
Today,
for the sitting president?
about this exceptional mission and to recognize the ingenuity and bravery of those who executed it, as well as the leadership and resolve of the president who ordered it. One thing that has been clear to me in this role is that the flawless military operations that the Department of War is known for are hostage to flawless intelligence. We saw that in the skies over Iran in Operation Midnight Hammer last summer. We witnessed it in Venezuela during Operation Absolute Resolve. We've seen it against the cartels in the Western Hemisphere, and we're seeing it every day in Operation Epic Fury, including this mission to rescue an aviator buried deep behind enemy lines. Because it is the unique tradition of the U.S. that we leave no man or woman behind. This was a no-fail mission.
I do too.
That was the spirit in which the president put us to work, and we were determined not to let him down.
You know what? It's going to be weird for they bow the knee to Hillary.
The CIA possesses.
Yeah, the same for the FBI too.
The president can deploy.
The same for the FBI
Some of
too.
these capabilities fall under code.
There are people in there who
Exactly that.
who aren't loyal to the United States. They're loyal to the shadow government, you know?
President's direction, we deployed both human assets and exquisite technologies that no other intelligence service in the world possesses.
It's crazy.
Challenge, comparable to hunting for a single grain of sand in the middle of a desert. This was also a race against the clock, as it was critical that we locate the downed aviator as quickly as possible, while at the same time keeping our enemies misdirected. For that reason, in addition to the human and technical assets deployed by the president to find our airman, CIA executed a deception campaign to confuse the Iranians who were desperately hunting for our airmen. On Saturday morning, we achieved our primary objective by finding and providing confirmation that one of America's best and bravest was alive and concealed in a mountain crevice.
All right, so he mentioned that they had to engage in a deception campaign. Do you think that this is the only deception campaign that the CIA or the American government has ever conducted? Because it caught my attention, and I'm like, okay, you guys are admitting to have run a deception campaign on this. We're glad about it. But is there something else that you guys have done in recent history? And I'm talking like last month, 2 months ago, or 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, that was essentially a deception campaign. It's crazy that they're admitting it for this, but I know that there are other things that they've done.
Still invisible to the enemy, but not to the CIA.
There are more stars than
Was relayed
there are more stars than seconds since the Big Bang. I think it will be okay.
Following the successful exfiltration on Saturday night,
Yeah, it'll be fine.
intelligence reflects that the Iranians were embarrassed and ultimately humiliated
Yep.
by the success of this audacious rescue mission.
Look, the IRGC. Now, I've been talking with my wife. Okay, my wife hasn't featured as a talking point on the live stream for a while now. I was talking with my wife on Friday. She pulled up the news and she's like, "Oh my goodness, a U.S. plane has been shot down." I was driving and I was like, "It's not a problem." Okay. And she's like panicking. If Iran can shoot down a U.S. plane, I was like, look, they've taken out all of the major air defense systems. This was a fluke. Okay. And we had that conversation. Then she's saying to me, all of these things are pointing to, a sign of strength or a show of strength from the Iranian government. And I'm like, no, it's nothing like that at all. What the Iranians were able to do over the weekend was just a fluke. But you know what? Of course, the U.S. military has learned its lesson, and I hope they'll be more careful with those missions. 75 years of deception. Yes, 75 years. Like, look, I don't want to sound like I believe everything that I hear coming from the United States government. I don't. I take everything with a gigantic grain of sand, even with the Trump administration. I do. Because they can't tell you everything. People in the press expect the president to tell them everything, down to the day that he's going to be striking a target in Iran. And that's stupid. Like, I can't believe the questions that these people ask. I'm wondering to myself, are these people stupid? Because they expect an answer from an obviously dumb question. We're so lucky we didn't lose more, but the enemy lost very much. Yes. Look, one of the things that's so unique about this war is that the targets are very specific. They're targeting the IRGC. The IRGC are the ones who are essentially oppressing and holding the Iranian people under their thumb. Okay, it was reported that over 30,000 protesters were erased just a couple of months back. No one is talking about that. And do you know what? This is routine. Every 5 to 10 years, there's an uprising in Iran, and then people are erased. The world doesn't care. The UN doesn't say anything. All the leftists don't care. And then when the United States decides that they're going to do something about it, everyone is up in arms about it. We're using technology that's new before the enemy discovers it. Yes, and that's the cool thing about the United States Army. All of these weapons exist, and they don't use it against other countries unless it's absolutely necessary. That's the way I see it. Okay, if I'm being naive, okay, fine. I'm naive, but imagine having that much firepower and technology, and you don't go around taking over countries, like literally taking over countries and saying, okay, we own you now. I hear someone saying Venezuela. No, Venezuela is not taking over essentially. Okay, they still have their government intact. They still have everything intact. I'm talking about the new president is someone from Wisconsin. I mean, that kind of takeover, like Britain used to do. They would colonize your country and then get someone from Glasgow to run your country. Okay, so it's crazy that the United States doesn't do that. And like I said earlier, the Constitution is a huge guardrail against that happening.
When the president asked me to lead the CIA, he made it clear: get back to basics, no politics, no agendas.
I hope they stay that way.
Problems and execute the toughest missions.
Yep.
This president is about results, and now that's what his CIA is about too. The professionals at the agency and at the Department of War deserve immense credit for their flawless execution during this daring mission. Their skill, creativity, and courage are unmatched on the battlefield wherever they step. But none of that matters, and all of that is wasted without a president with the political courage to put into action.
If Trump ran for president in Venezuela, do you think he would win? I'm just thinking, because look, to be honest, well, maybe some of us are being optimistic, but you know what? I see comments coming in from the United Kingdom, UK, England, Spain, Which other countries have comments come in? And you know what? Some of them say that they wish they had someone like President Trump in their country. You know, it's crazy. Now, by the end of his second term, and maybe 5 years after, we're going to look back to see if President Trump was everything we said he was during his presidency, because sometimes things come up, things get uncovered, and then you see that this guy was actually what he was or wasn't. We had 4 years of Joe Biden. They had 4 years to uncover anything that the first Trump term contained that would have been deemed a scandal or something that disqualified him from ever running for office. They did not. They attempted to run an illegal raid on Mar-a-Lago looking for something to incriminate President Trump. They couldn't find anything. So I don't think there's going to be anything discovered that's going to be like, oh, this is insane. He was such a horrible, evil person. I don't think so. But I will stand corrected if after 5 years post second term, things start coming out. All right. So I think that he's doing a good job. So other countries would love to have him as president, but he's 79 years old. Look, he's going to be done, and he's going to pay attention to his family. That's what I think he'll be doing.
Mr. President, I've had the privilege of seeing you act with political courage in the best interest of the United States up close on a daily basis, and I'm grateful that this successful mission has given the American people a window into that as well. The Secretary and Chairman will tell you that our service members' confidence is boosted by a Commander-in-Chief who has their back the same way they have yours.
Yeah, people forget how much. Look, the internet has, okay, not the internet, but people on the internet have such a short memory. Like now, you have Tucker Carlson making videos attacking Trump. You have, what's his name now? Alex Jones attacking Trump. Look, the war is not perfect. I don't like war. I don't like the optics of the war. I don't. But it's not. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough for anyone to say, okay, because he did this, we're going to decide that we're going all out against Trump. Guys, it's okay to hold the administration's feet to the fire. It's okay to hold them accountable and make sure that you keep them honest. But it's a totally different thing to begin to go 180 degrees on them and begin to go against, the president. I don't think it's a good idea, because when you weaken your side, look, Trump is the strongest thing the Republican Party has. So when you turn and you begin to attack him, you weaken the Republican Party and you give the Democrats the advantage. Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, Candace Owens, the list goes on. Man, guys, Iran cannot have a nuke. It is non-negotiable. I was talking with my wife a couple of hours back, and she's like, well, she has this issue and that issue. I said, look, you need to know who you're dealing with. These are people who will send children into minefields, to clear minefields. They did that in the 80s. These are people that will strap explosives on young teenage boys and send them into populated areas and have them blow themselves up. these are the same people who all the while for years had missiles pointed at their neighbors. And now we just realized that those missiles were there because they began firing in every direction, attacking their neighbors. You can't have these guys own a nuclear weapon. If there's anyone out there who can't see it, all right, and maybe you can see it, but you don't agree with the war. Okay, tell me your masterful, idea on how to solve the Iran problem, how to solve the IRGC problem. The IRGC are largely people who are not originally Iranian. They aren't. Some of them come from Pakistan. Some of them come from Afghanistan. Some of them come from Syria. They are not originally from Iran. Okay, so just think about it. If you have a better idea than what President Trump and the Israelis are doing, please present it. Okay, let me know, because if the same guys who strap bombs to kids and send them into populated locations to have them blow themselves up, look, I can't help you. If you can't see the hatred in their hearts, you're being lied to. Oh, of course. Look, the mainstream media has spent decades whitewashing all of these terrorist groups. They've spent decades making what they do not so bad because it's America's fault. That's what they've been doing for a long time. Okay? Christians and Muslims are peaceful. These are radicals. Look, I agree. Like the average Muslim, okay, the average Muslim out there isn't looking to blow his kids up. Okay, it's when you begin to go into the radical aspects of Islam, you begin to run into these things. Okay? It's just weird, guys. It's weird to watch how you see mainstream media bend over backwards to try and make it seem like there's nothing wrong with what they're doing in the Middle East. Okay, so let me play this video. Oh, geez. Okay, all right. Before we continue, I hope I can find this video. I hope I can. I should be able to. All right. So this is this is Anna Kasparian from the Young Turks. Okay, she hates everything Israel, hates everything American, and she essentially believes that the reason why she can't dress in her Western styled outfit is because of American influence in the Middle East. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling. Oh goodness, I had this thing bookmarked. Okay. I hate it when this happens because I have all of these things queued up and lined up, and once you start looking for it, it's like, okay, so where did this go? And yeah, it's gotten away from me. Okay, Kasparian, I'm going to take one more stab at it. Bill. Yeah, this is it. So let's listen to this, okay? Like, this is the logic. No. Intergalactic Wrangler, you don't talk too much. You're like, this is why we're here. We're hanging out. We're hanging out. Okay? We're hanging out. If there's anyone who talks too much sometimes, I think it's me. So this is just 2 minutes, okay? So let's listen to how she tries to bend over backwards to not state the obvious. And let me know what you think about this.
If you had to live in the Middle East, so tomorrow, Anna, you got to go live in the Middle East, where would you live? You can pick one city, any city. You can, as far away as, say, Pakistan. You could live in Karachi. You could live in Cairo. You could live in Amman, Jordan. You seem to love Lebanon. I mean, Beirut's nice when the bombing's not happening and the assassinations have stopped. Or you could live in Syria. That's wonderful in the summer.
Well, we now have Al-Qaeda terrorists leading Syria.
Or the Houthis, I'm sure, would make room for you.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv, or the West Bank, Ramallah, I think is wonderful for like a little, in the fall, it gets lovely. Where would you live? What city would you live in?
Well,
where do you think you'd be comfortable in that dress?
I'm sure it would not be comfortable in this dress in any of the various Middle Eastern countries that have been destabilized by...
You're not
You see what she's doing?
You're really blaming it on Whitey.
Listen.
Are you? You're blaming Islam on Whitey?
See what she's doing?
I'm not blaming Islam on Whitey.
But what you're saying is we destabilized. That's why you can't wear that dress.
Did we not destabilize?
Wait a second.
We were funding terrorist organizations in Syria during the Syrian civil war, starting under the Obama administration.
That's why.
Destabilize Syria?
No, what's destabilized?
There's a literal Al-Qaeda terrorist.
We're talking about your dress. Why?
It looks good. I know it looks good.
You're saying you can't wear that dress in Syria because of Whitey destabilizing?
I didn't say that.
Okay, that's
You're putting words in my mouth.
Okay, great.
But the United States did destabilize various Middle Eastern countries. Are you going to deny that?
I asked about the dress, and you went right to destabilize. So is that why you couldn't wear that dress?
So anyway, let's let it run its course. What do you think about this exchange? Let me know in the chat.
You want me to talk about jihadism and Islam, but like,
why won't you?
Listen.
And when you hear them talk about extremism, they kind of do this thing where they like make it sound less horrendous than it actually is, like what she just did.
Why won't you?
I mean,
Why?
I don't believe in jihadism, which is why I'm furious that the United States just had a freaking Al-Qaeda terrorist in the White House.
It's not just jihadism that is preventing you from wearing.
So President Trump had the former leader of a terror group, who's now the leader of Syria, visit the Oval Office in the White House. It's called negotiation, and it's called keeping your enemies close or closer. Okay? What would she have him do? Okay? Start another war with Syria. You need to kind of keep an eye on these people and make sure that they know that, look, we're dealing with you. They want to make it as painful for them to misbehave against the United States as possible. So you need to have those relationships in a way. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I think there's a good reason for President Trump actually accommodating that relationship.
That dress. Are you saying every Muslim is a jihad? I don't think they are.
Bill.
Okay, why can't you wear that dress?
Let's focus for a second.
No, you won't answer this.
She knows why she won't be able to wear that dress in a Middle Eastern country that is essentially Islamic or Islamist. So these are the kinds of things that you see. I'm going to read that chat shortly, Intergalactic. Just give me a second. I'm going to read that chat. So when you have people who just bend over backwards to try and make it sound like what's going on in the Middle East isn't that bad, it's insane. He's a comic, but he's learned a lot. He leans left. I feel there's hope for Bill. Look, if people feel like they want to vote Democrat and they lean left, it's fine. Like the Democrats of the 80s went as crazy as Democrats today. I miss the Democrats of the 90s. Okay? At least they had the decency to pretend that they were decent people. China and Trump have something in common, building the wall, in my opinion. Yeah, they do.
And I know that the confidence of CIA's officers is boosted by the knowledge that their work is informing a president who's not afraid to make the hardest decisions when the stakes are highest. And to the American people, your confidence should be boosted by knowing that the security of the nation is in the hands of a president who's willing to take on problems that have confounded both sides of the political aisle for nearly half a century. It is an honor to serve under a leader who just proved you can believe him when he says, no matter what, we will leave no one behind. We will come for you.
You know, he said this, and I was talking with my wife, and I had a conversation with my wife. Okay, so Intergalactic, you used to be a Democrat. Look, if I grew up in the United States with the way my parents loved Democrat leaders, I would have grown up a Democrat easy. I would have had to go through that. In fact, look, I was essentially a Democrat at heart. I celebrated when Obama was elected. I didn't go crazy celebrating, but I was glad that he was elected. After Bush did what he did in Iraq, anyone would be glad. But it didn't work out so good. Okay, so yeah, I would have been a Democrat. I don't hate Democrats, okay? I hate the policies. I hate the ideologies that they push. I hate these unhinged displays that we're seeing right now, and they want to make it okay. I hate the fact that Democrat leaders are not the best the country has to offer. You know, and it just breaks my heart that that's what we have to put up with. And I don't know if this was always the case, where politics created this kind of divide in families where you can't even discuss simple political ideas with your family. I don't know if it was always that way, but it's crazy now that you literally have to take discussing policy or politics off the table with anyone who leans hard left. You can discuss policy with people who are essentially center left. They can have a conversation with you. They essentially are like the Democrats from the 90s. You can have policy conversations and it doesn't become a rage fest. But these days, it's just mental health all over the place, TDS all over the place.
Thank you.
All right, so he's done with his speech. We have Pete Hegseth and Raisin Cain giving their speech. This has, let's see. I'm tempted to just listen for a bit, but we can talk for a bit. So we have these memories of what the 90s used to be for politics and the Democrats and so on, and it's just like I miss those days, you know. I do.
Warriors in our armed forces. Over this Easter weekend, the United States.
Hold on. Thanksgiving Day was always the political fight day. Are you serious? Like, it's always been that way? Okay, I did not know. I did not know that. I think what's been going on over the last decade has essentially been a lot of these things that the world didn't know was going on behind the scenes coming out full blast, but dialed up to 1,000. That's if what you mean by what you just posted is that Thanksgiving Day has always been that way all the way back for decades. Then look, something really caved in over the, oh my goodness. Jeez. Okay, that has simply shattered the illusion that I had. I always felt that this was something new. But, Intergalactic Wrangler, the disagreements, were these disagreements always this unhinged? I'm just curious. Were they always this unhinged? Because it's just weird what we're seeing.
Has once again proved why we possess the greatest fighting force the world has ever known. In two extraordinary combat search and rescue operations deep inside enemy territory in Iran our warriors executed missions of breathtaking skill, courage, and precision. When our warriors are unleashed, as this president has allowed them to be, they are unstoppable. When American airmen were down behind enemy lines, our forces and our president did not hesitate. Special operators supported by elite air crews and intelligence professionals moved swiftly and decisively into treacherous mountain terrain under the constant threat of Iranian forces closing in. Ultimately, it was an impotent Iranian threat. And today, as the CIA director mentioned, Iran's
no, if you can imagine it, it wasn't
humiliated, and they should be.
It wasn't, you know, it wasn't as unhinged as this because these people were in the mental institutions. They were. They didn't have social media handles and YouTube accounts where they could spread their mental illness. they didn't. They weren't rewarded like Mamdani is doing in New York. Look, oh my gosh. Mental health wasn't being rewarded. It wasn't a status symbol. It's insane what's going on. It's like upside down world.
Now, these are not routine operations. They were high risk, high stakes missions conducted in the heart of enemy territory. This was not just barely into Iran. This was deep into Iran, involving coordinated strikes to suppress threats, deception tactics to protect our teams, and synchronization across air, ground, and special operations. The Iranians are still asking themselves right now, how did the Americans do this? One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted.
Everyone gets a trophy. Yeah.
And he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder. His first message was simple, and it was powerful.
I think, okay, and just stay with me. I think America should make spanking great again. Okay, make spanking great again. Because those of us who were spanked turned out okay. We didn't die. And you have all these entitled people with mental, like once they go through childhood thinking that the world is their oyster, and then they hit the real world and they see that it isn't so, they lose their minds. I guess that's what happens. Or they go through colleges and get brainwashed, hit real life, and then they lose their minds. Let's make spanking great again. Okay, kids have to be spanked because it helps their brains work well.
He sent a message, God is good. In that moment of isolation and danger, his faith and fighting spirit shone through. You see, shot down on a Friday, Good Friday.
I'm sorry, your ex didn't like spanking or didn't like the fights on Thanksgiving Day? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
In a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued.
Look, if you're watching, we're having a watch party. Okay, we're having a watch party. This already happened. We're hanging out. We're talking. Maybe next time I'm going to get popcorn, but popcorn is going to be too loud. My mic is really sensitive. I set it up to be sensitive. So, Mr. Yuck Sticker, I remember. Mr. Yuck Sticker. Okay. I don't know what that means. I don't understand that reference. So we can do like, you can have your drink, and I'm not going to get popcorn. It's going to be very annoying. The crunching is going to be amplified by this, but you get my point. We're just, the spanking, it was a joke. My ex didn't like this. Oh, dude. Okay, now. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's move on. Do you know? Do you know? I guess that was what you were talking about, but I didn't want to believe it. Intergalactic, please.
A pilot reborn.
Oh man.
All home and accounted for. A nation.
I'm not out of rum yet.
Is good. Despite incoming fire and unforgiving conditions, our troops brought every American home. No American lives.
Caramel and
we leave no man behind, and
Okay.
that's not luck. It's the result of unmatched training, superior technology, an unbreakable warrior ethos, and sheer American grit. Our special operators, pilots, and support crews performed with near perfection under fire, and they were lethal. Just ask any Iranian soldier who dared attempt to get anywhere near that pilot before or during that mission. Death from above. Our troops turned a potential tragedy into a resounding demonstration of American resolve and capability. That's what excellence in uniform looks like.
Yeah.
But make no mistake about it. None of this would have been possible without the courageous leadership and ironclad determination of President Donald J. From the moment our airmen went down, President Trump made it clear.
Yeah, boy. Popcorn.
One behind. The first mission, the first of two, was an audacious daylight thunder run right up the middle. It was authorized in less than 2 hours from that pilot going down when we knew where he was. And it was authorized in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Anybody that's worked for this man knows he's up in the middle of the night. Authorized immediately, without hesitation, audaciously.
Would Joe Biden have been able to pull off this kind of coordination in the middle of the night? Let me know in the chat.
The second mission, as soon as we knew where that pilot was, and John was very helpful in that, also executed immediately. You know, I looked up at my screen when the final mission was complete inside our SCIF, our secure facility. And we have a running VTC, a running coordination cell. And the top of it read 45 minutes and 45 hours and 56 minutes. For 45 hours and 56 minutes, we held that call open for coordination. From the moment our pilots went down, our mission was unblinking. The call never dropped, the meeting never stopped, the planning never ceased. The president demanded rapid, decisive action. He backed our military with the full weight of his resolve, refusing to let enemy propaganda or tactical setbacks deter us. His leadership ensured that every lethal and non-lethal resource was brought to bear, that our forces had the authorities and the support they needed to succeed. When the president says he has the backs of our warfighters, he means it. And it means a great deal, and it's a big difference on the battlefield. President Trump understands that peace through strength is not a slogan.
Yeah.
It is a doctrine that saves American lives. His unwavering commitment to rebuilding our military and restoring the warrior spirit has paid dividends in missions just like this one. Under his command, America projects power with confidence and brings our people home with victory. And that continues today, by the way. Per the president's direction, today will be the largest volume of strikes since day one of this operation. Tomorrow, even more than
I also have my toes.
and Iran has a choice. Choose wisely. This president does not play around. You can ask Soleimani. You can ask
I walked right into that one.
you can ask
I did.
Khomeini.
Spanking.
To those heroes who planned and executed these rescues, your nation stands in awe. I stand in awe. The chairman stands in awe. We all stand in awe of your professionalism and bravery. We serve for you. You embody the very best of America. To the rescued airmen and their families, welcome home. Your courage and endurance, the quiet declaration of faith amid the storm, inspires us all. God is good every day.
For anyone who doesn't understand the cost of what, like, apart from the cost of the military assets that were brought to bear to rescue those two soldiers, there were two transport planes that got stuck and they were blown up. Each one could cost north of $500 million. Each one. So essentially, to save both of those soldiers, the country may have spent north of $5 billion just to save two soldiers. Okay. Not every country will do this for their soldiers. Not every country will do this. And, I am in awe of how American lives are valued. Pete's got them Jewish lasers on his tie. Okay.
To our adversaries watching from Tehran, let this be a clear message. The United States military will go anywhere, at any time, to protect our own and complete the mission. We execute with precision. We control the skies. You see, we flew for 7 hours in daylight over Iran to get the first pilot. And we flew 7 hours in the middle of the night to get the second. And Iran did nothing about it. We fight with honor, and under President Trump's leadership, God bless our troops, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
That's crazy. They flew for that long without having any anti-aircraft missiles or anything.
I know before
Look,
I start, I know many of you want
the Iranian
details,
military apparatus has essentially been decimated.
what I must in the event that we have to.
They saved them soldiers for show of power and the American way. I hope. I hope so too.
Operational security. The Secretary and I will do a more detailed briefing tomorrow morning, and we look forward to sharing the details that we can. On Thursday, 2 April at 10:10 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:40 in the morning, local Iran time, the Joint Personnel Recovery Center, which handles the Central Command area of responsibility, declared an isolated personnel recovery event for a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle, call sign Dude 44, which was down in hostile Iranian territory. The pilot and weapons system officer had both safely ejected and were isolated behind enemy lines. Following confirmation of active rescue beacons and on the direction of the Secretary and by order of the President, a rescue operation was launched with the stated purpose of bringing both.
All right, so if you don't know who General Kane is, I guess Intergalactic, you should know who General Kane is. This is the guy who wiped out ISIS in less than 2 weeks. That's the guy. Okay, so he's giving a briefing on what took place. Look, the Trump administration has a very strong team. Yes, there have been people like Joe Kent who jumped ship a couple of weeks back, and Intergalactic, and I'm talking to you now. If there's anyone else listening, you can chime in. Do you miss the daily live streams that I used to do? Because I miss them, and I think I'm leaning into going back to those daily live streams because I feel like there's so much we could have talked about. The Joe Kent situation was crazy, and I would have loved to have a conversation with you guys about it. But the Trump administration has a strong bench and a strong team, and having this guy, the guy who wiped out ISIS in 2 weeks, okay, leading the military, or at least being the head of the Joint Chiefs, is just crazy. They went from pussyfooting around to having an agenda. Yep, true.
Americans home.
They did.
As the Secretary said, several hours later on the morning after positively locating the front seater, call sign Dude 44 Alpha, and aware of an aggressive ongoing search by the enemy, a U.S. Central Command plan was approved by the Secretary and the President. Shortly thereafter, a U.S. Air Force Combat Search and Rescue Task Force comprised of A-10 Warthogs in their Sandy role, and I'll describe what that is in a minute, HC-130 Combat King 2s, HH-60 Jolly Green 2 helicopters, and Air Force Special Warfare Airmen, a package comprised of combat rescue officers and pararescueman operators, audaciously penetrated enemy territory in broad daylight to find, fix, and recover Dude 44 Alpha from behind enemy lines. This was an incredibly dangerous mission, an incredibly dangerous undertaking, but a filled promise made to every American warfighter that you will not be left behind. We will always come find you, and we will always bring you home.
I try to catch a stream when I can. So much has happened. So much will happen soon with the wars and the alien stuff. Always nothing burger with no cheese.
And moved in.
Yeah, they're now talking about aliens, and I feel the same way about them talking about aliens now as I felt when they had that hearing in Congress where they showed that thing in Congress, or picture of that thing in Congress. I feel like it feels like a distraction to me, okay, based on the stuff that's going on, always, there's always something to talk about, always, so I like hanging out with you guys. I like talking. I like sharing these things, but I always want to have something reasonable to say. But the most important thing for me is to be able to hang out with you guys and just talk about these things. Just like my sentiments about the whole thing about, okay, hey, there's aliens now. It's I guess they're trying to make it policy now that they're aliens. So they're really pushing for that. And I feel weird about all of that happening within this pocket. I feel weird about it. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel weird. Okay, talking about aliens existing and all that.
To the objective area, all under fire. En route, as some of you have seen on social media, the helicopters took gas off the C-130s and pressed onward and forward up into the objective area. While this was ongoing, and out in front of them, the Sandy flight of A-10s and other remotely piloted aircraft, drones, and other tactical aircraft were violently suppressing and engaging the enemy in a close-in gunfight to keep them away from the front seater and allow the pickup force to get into the objective area. During this engagement, one of the Sandy aircraft, the one primarily responsible for communicating with the downed pilot, was hit by enemy fire. This pilot continued to fight, continued the mission, and then upon exit, flew his aircraft into another country and determined that the airplane was not landable. This was one of our A-10 Sandy aircraft. The pilot then made the decision to eject over friendly territory and was quickly and safely recovered and is doing fine. After picking up Dude 44 Alpha, the HH-60 Jolly Green fight was engaged.
We're going to talk about this aliens thing. Okay, we're going to talk about the aliens after he's done. Because it's weird to me how this is suddenly a thing.
And they are going to be fine. A note for those of you that do not know what a Sandy does. Named after the flight call sign that did this very mission in Vietnam for A-1 Sky Raiders and A-7 Corsairs. A Sandy has one mission: get to the survivor, bring the rescue force forward, and put themselves between that survivor on the ground and the enemy. They are committed to this. This is what they live for, and this is what they've trained for over many, many years. The A-10 force and the rescue force did a fantastic job rescuing Dude 44 Alpha. He was recovered Friday afternoon. As I said, and the nation needs to know this, this was an incredibly brave and courageous mission, and a testament to the courage, skill, and tenacity of the joint force and our leaders, and especially a daylight option. Having the guts to try means so much to so many. Meanwhile, the backseater, as the President and the Secretary have said, had continued to work and survive. Through the hours of daylight, Dude 44 Bravo, the backseater, evaded. Using every means available, the efforts of the United States military, the Central Intelligence Agency...
Yeah, God bless the military.
...to find and locate with precision Dude 44 Bravo, the backseater. A note on the backseater and the front seater. The single most important contributor.
It would have been crazy if those soldiers were caught. It would have been crazy.
That downed aviator. Their will to survive, their will to evade, their will to recover is everything. In this case, the backseater's absolute commitment to surviving made much of our efforts possible. On Saturday, 4 April, after establishing positive communications with the backseater, we learned, as the president said, that he was injured and actively evading enemy forces. And thanks to our interagency partners, we were able to get eyes on his location and positively ID him. Throughout this entire time, the enemy force continued to search for 4-4 Bravo, and the joint force continued to strike them over and over and over again. Fighting off marginal weather in Iran and the enemy's search for a second time on Saturday, at the recommendation of the CENTCOM commander and at the approval of the Secretary and the President, we launched a rescue task force to recover Dude 4-4 Bravo. Again, this came to the President and the Secretary for approval, this time with a much larger force package based on the time that the enemy had to prepare to find 4-4 Bravo. Again,
I heard that there was a video. I haven't seen the video, and I don't think that YouTube will like it if I played the video. I heard that there was a video essentially that had the Iranians that were attempting to essentially kidnap or grab the soldier. They were being suppressed and attacked by the rescue team, and they were essentially decimated, and they were screaming to themselves, "They've killed all of us. No one is left." Like, it's crazy that was happening. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly go through your chat. I couldn't sleep that night till I had confirmation he was secure. It would have been crazy if they got their hands on him, and the Iranians would have made it a spectacle. Many Iranians died during the rescue. I think one person on the chopper was hit. Well, I didn't hear that. Now, if you're watching, feel free to drop your thoughts in the chat. Okay, subscribe, like, share the video, like this video if you're enjoying the flow. This is a watch party. It's an open watch party, and we're having popcorn. And Intergalactic is having rum. I just finished my herbal tea, and maybe I will get some water later. Okay, the next watch party I will come better prepared. Intergalactic has more rum than I had tea. He still has his supply going.
This force was protected by A-10 Warthogs using the Sandy call sign. And this force had one single mission: do everything they can to bring an American home. This meant having a plan, being prepared to execute that plan, and more importantly, being prepared for multiple simultaneous contingencies. And because of this force's professionalism, grit, and determination, fight off two enemies at the same time: the enemy searching for 4-4 Bravo and contingencies, which anyone who has done these types of missions knows we run into every single time.
This is going to be a crazy movie. I guarantee you there's going to be a movie about this.
The force fought off both of those enemies incredibly well. During the period of darkness on Saturday, and as the Secretary said, into Easter Sunday and into the daylight, the force fought its way in and rescued Dude 4-4 Bravo. They were protected overhead by an air armada, including tactical drones, strike aircraft, and others. The force fought through multiple simultaneous contingencies, something no other nation, no other military can do, and safely returned Dude 4-4 Bravo, the backseater, home, and all other Americans home as well. At midnight 12 local Eastern time, Easter Sunday, more than 50 hours after the start of this operation, the Joint Personnel Recovery Center declared Dude 4-4 Bravo, both the front and back seater, returned to friendly territory. The courage demonstrated by both the pilot and the weapons system officer while isolated and them invading the enemy cannot be overstated. Their grit and warfighting tenacity is a direct result of the absolute trust they have in our rescue forces, their training, and their will to survive and return. They always knew that we would be ordered to go get them, and they always knew that we would be coming to get them. These two operations reflect our nation's most sacred obligation to our military service members. We leave
ghosts in the air.
It also perfectly captures the first truth of our special operations forces, that people are more important than hardware. That is the standard.
Look, guys, that is massive. Just like I said earlier, over let's just call it over $1 billion worth of hardware destroyed because it got stuck in the sand. It's crazy. I don't think there's any other country that would do this. Okay, like when I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's insane, and he's repeating it. And you know what? Anyone who wants to join the military, like this is a huge advert for the for recruitment. Okay, this rescue is a huge boost. I think there's going to be a huge boost in recruitment numbers after this.
Rescue forces that execute these missions operate under a clear motto: these things we do that others may live. Their actions were a direct embodiment of that commitment to others, and I could not be more proud of each and every one of them today. As the Secretary said to our enemies, this operation serves as a clear reminder of the capability and will of America's joint force.
Proof of concept. You're right.
America will recover our warfighting.
We're going to have a huge jump in recruitment numbers.
When we want to. We will always bring overwhelming skill and firepower. To every member of the joint force, our interagency partners, the leadership at CENTCOM, and our leaders at the department and above, thank you. I'm proud of each and every one of you and thankful to our deployed forces and their families. And lastly, and most importantly, to Dude 44, welcome home. Job well done. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome.
Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And these two gentlemen have been, from day one, they've been perfecto. You know, I got to know General Kane in my first term because he was able to take out ISIS in 4 weeks. On
4 weeks, projection. Not 2 weeks, like I said. Sorry.
To me by other much lesser generals. And I said, you know, if I ever do this again, that's going to be the head of my Joint Chiefs of Staff. And we worked it that way, didn't we? It's amazing. He took out ISIS. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. I was told it would take 4 years. I flew to Iraq to find out with the greatest equipment in the world, why would it take 4 years? And he told me, sir, it won't. It'll take 4 weeks and you'll have time left over.
Look at that.
Exactly what happened. So he's great. And Pete, all I can say is that he was treated very unfairly. And now those same people that treated him unfairly, that fought against him, that called me up saying, what a great choice he was. So what happened during this nomination? What happened to you? I'm telling you, people that were not for him, senators, friends of mine, sir, I don't think you're doing the right thing. Now they're calling me up. What a choice. These two guys are fantastic. And John was incredible. I was actually there.
All right.
Genius.
In Intergalactic, what video game do you play? Call of Duty? What do you play? Okay. I've been wondering if I should do a live stream where we play video games and talk about the news. Okay, Patricia plays Minecraft, but maybe she would like a first shooter game. Who knows? she's ex-military, so she might like a Call of Duty or something. So what video game do you play? And if you're watching, would you like to be on that campaign to play video games while we talk about the news and watch stuff like this?
Called us from, he was 40 miles away, and he said, you know, we're seeing something moving up in the mountain. It was at night. And they kept the camera on him for 45 minutes. It wasn't moving, and they said, you know, probably wrong, but we're seeing something moving. This is a vast mountain. vast, thick, with bushes, trees. He said, we see something moving 40 miles away. It was the head of a human being, I'm telling you, it's moving. And then all of a sudden, 45 minutes later, he moved a lot. Stood up, and they said, we have him.
Combat Arms is 20 years old. All right.
Beginning of something.
I'll write it down. Maybe we'll talk about doing a live stream on that.
That's a big mountain.
I'll write it down.
So I want to thank the CIA, too. I don't think they get enough credit for the great job they've done. Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this great opportunity. Country, it has super army. You make a difference, Mr. President. Thank you for your greatest leadership.
Thank you.
I have two quick questions, Mr. President. What was your reaction when you learned that Kurdistan region had resumed exporting oil to the international market with your support as United States of America?
Well, I expected that. We've gotten along with the Kurds for a long time, so I expected that.
Another question, what would be your reaction if the Iranian people rise up against their regime during a ceasefire, Mr. President?
Well, they should do it, but again, the consequences are great. I mean, they were told if you protest, you will be shot immediately. You saw what happened to the young wrestler. He was a great champion, by the way. He was a great wrestler, one of the top in the world. And he and his two friends were hung. And all they did was say a little bit about liberty. They wanted liberty.
Intergalactic, did the mainstream media cover this? Okay, anyone else who's watching, did the mainstream media cover how the Iranian regime was hanging its citizens, killing its citizens for simply speaking up and wanting freedom? Okay, let me know in the chat.
And they were violently executed. But the number is up to probably 45,000 people were killed. So,
look at that.
You know, when somebody stays in a house, when they know if they walk out of the house to protest, they'll be immediately shot and killed. And they issued that. You know, that was publicly issued. It's not a secret. That's why so many people say, oh, well, why are you doing this way? We can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You know, we got regime change. We do. We're dealing with a much different regime than before. We're dealing with different people. They're smarter. I think they're sharper and far less radical. We have regime change, but we didn't do this for regime change. We did it for the fact, and my view was very simple. I saw somebody said, oh, he doesn't have a plan. I have the best plan of all, but I'm not going to tell you what my plan is. You know, they want me to say, here's my plan. We're going to attack at 9:47 in the morning, and then we're going to do this.
Was it Tyrus?
And you don't do that. They say, I have a plan.
Did Tyrus cover it on Fox News?
Here knows what the plan is, but it's very unfair to say, because I don't mind being insulted. I've been insulted for many years by the fake news, but you can't. It's so bad for the people that are so you just saw two great, and John Ratcliffe, three unbelievable people. They have a plan. Every single thing has been thought out by all of us. But I can't reveal the plan to the media. So, you know, but we're just thrilled by the success of this operation. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said Iranians would be mad if you stopped these attacks, but why would they want you to blow up their infrastructure, to cut off their power? Wouldn't that be punishing Iranians for the actions of the regime?
They would be willing to, and it's suffering, they would be willing to suffer that in order to have freedom. The Iranians have...
So Tyrus works for Fox News, So let's listen to this answer, because sometimes the press asks some questions. Well, she does have a point, because if someone says to me, I'm going to blow up your power in order to save you, it has to be very important for the power to be blown up in order to save me. So I guess...
We've had numerous intercepts. Please keep bombing. Bombs that are dropping near their home.
The plan, I think, is...
Please keep bombing. Do it. And these are people that are living where the bombs are exploding. And when we leave and we're not hitting those areas, they're saying, please come back, come back. These are the people. I don't know what they do. All I can tell you is they want freedom. They have lived in a world that you know nothing about.
So So yeah, and he's right. You don't know what these guys have had to live with for 47 years, and you think that being without power for 3 months is going to be a massive inconvenience, and really that's basically first world problems. Okay, that's a first world mindset. You don't know what it's like to have to cover yourself up in a hijab. She's clearly dressed in a Western style. There are women out there who can't dress the way she's dressing without them being attacked. And so I think they are willing to pay the price if it means being without infrastructure for a while to make sure that this regime is unseated. I think they're willing to pay that price.
It's a violent, horrible world where if you protest, you are shot.
Yep.
Remember the great woman protests where they had 400,000, 500,000 women. They were all enthused and they were going to protest, and everybody said, oh, the regime's going to come.
No.
And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, 5, 6 different areas. A woman would go down right between the eyes.
Yeah.
They had snipers. They had 5 snipers. That's
Yeah.
And those 400,000 or
Yep.
500,000 women said, oh my God, what's that? Oh, look over there. What's that?
Yeah.
A woman shot right between the eyes.
Yeah.
And after 5 or 6 of them go down, then you start hearing the purr through the vast number of people. And then they said, oh my God, who would do that?
Yeah.
And they're incredible people, but they've lived so horribly. They've lived so horribly. You know, Iran was a great country. If you go back,
Seeing footage of a girl beaten to death because she didn't cover her face is bad. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know, coming from New York.
I saw a picture of an Iranian woman, beautiful looking woman. They poured acid on her face because she refused to cover her hair. And someone is bothered about a bridge being blown up or power being out for a few months. It's crazy.
Originally, I know so many people from Iran. They're incredible people, incredible energy, and very, very brilliant people. But when you're standing in a group and protesting, and you have a woman, in the case of a woman, remember the Great Woman March?
Yeah.
Say, oh, this is the end of the country.
Yeah.
And then snipers selectively picked. Every single one was shot right between the eyes from a long distance.
I'm right with you, Intergalactic. Yeah, but I was born in Nigeria, and I refused to leave until I saw my government shoot unarmed protesters. And I looked over at my 2 kids who were just playing. They were oblivious to what was going on. They were kids. And I said to my wife, these kids can't grow up in this country anymore. If a country can kill its own citizens, they have to be taken out of the country. And that's what led to me moving to North America. People who don't know the terror of your government killing you simply because you don't agree with them not fixing a problem, you don't know what that's like.
Of buildings. Nobody even knew where they were, where they're coming from.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a machine gun, which is also very bad. They've done that too. They did that recently. This was snipers sitting on the top of buildings, aiming and hitting women. And when they see people go down, and all of a sudden there's a riot in the reverse direction, and they never came out again. And a lot of the news doesn't talk about that. They talk about, oh, women's rights. You want to see women's rights? You're not going to see it there.
Oh,
it's amazing when I see some of
look, Intergalactic and anyone else who's watching, that thing messed me up for days. I couldn't talk for almost 2 days. I couldn't talk for almost 2 days. Like, you're watching this live streamed on Instagram and you're hearing gunfire at 10 p.m. at night. No, that they shut off the power in the entire area. They had the military come roll up in tanks, in armored vehicles, and they opened fire on innocent, unarmed civilians protesting. What were they protesting? Police brutality. And the government says, well, we're going to clear this up, and they fired on armed civilians. You don't know how that feels. So being without power is nothing, guys.
The stupid people like, AOC +3, all that group, they talk about, freedom for Iran. They don't tell you the real facts. Women, men, gays. How about gays for Iran? They kill the gays. They throw them off buildings.
Yep.
So I wonder what's going on. I can only say this. They want us to keep bombing, even if it jeopardizes, because their life is in much greater danger.
Yeah.
They want freedom for Iran, but it's very hard for them to protest. I actually tell them, I said, don't go out. I fully understand. Nobody in this room would go out. I don't think there's any, because frankly, it's not a question of bravery. We're all brave, right? You're brave, I'm brave, we're all brave. But we're also intelligent. If you have people shooting at you, expert shots with the best rifles you can get, and hitting you right between the eyes every single time, and you're looking here and you're seeing, and
My goodness.
you're out of there. I don't care who it is. Please.
Mark Meredith, Fox News.
I know that.
Oh, thank you.
How would I know that? Go ahead.
America's watching. No.
Good job.
Can we go back to the weekend? First off, was everyone on board with the operation, or were there people that were trying to talk you out of going through with the operation this weekend?
Not everybody was on board.
Somebody else within?
No, there was military people, very professional, that not doing it. These two were totally on board, which was very important. They weren't, it would have had a little difficulty. But no, there were military people that said you just don't do this.
Sorry about that.
You don't go into the heart of a very powerful military. This is, hey, you have countries and countries. You have some countries where military is not their strong suit. This whole thing is militarized like nobody's ever seen before. Half the people are wearing uniforms. And we had people within the military. Usually it's not done. That's one of the reasons. I was surprised. Somebody said it's the only time it's ever been done. I said, that's not possible. But it is possible, because you're going into hundreds of thousands of soldiers along the path. I mean, look at some of the helicopters, how they got hit. So, yeah, there were people within the military that said it's a wise. And don't forget, how many men did you send altogether, approximately, for the operation?
I'd love to keep that a secret.
Okay.
Wow.
But I will tell you.
Oh, but that's a
number. I'll keep it a secret, but it was hundreds. And hundreds of these people. It's pretty good. Is he central?
I agree. You don't tell everybody everything.
Went into this journey. Hundreds of people could have been killed. Forget about the equipment. A lot of equipment. Nobody cares. Hundreds of people could have been killed. So we had people that were within the military that said this is not a wise. And I understood that, but I decided to do it.
Was there a point that that you were thinking there's too much on the line, and somebody was saying maybe we abort this now and wait? I mean, given the resource like the general said, it seemed like there was so much on the line here. You must have been thinking, this could have completely changed.
So the first one, which
helicopters,
in many ways as dangerous as the second, I guess it gets, because we're flying over daylight. We're the best at the world at night. We have goggles that nobody. We have goggles. I've tried them. They're unbelievable. I see better with the goggles at night than I see without them during daylight. I mean, daylight today, we have a beautiful day. You see just as well with goggles. In many ways, it's enhanced. So we have the best in the world. So it's much safer for us to do it at night. Whereas other people, no other country has that capability. They don't have that particular piece of equipment like we do. But when I was told flying and in daylight, I think we flew 7 hours over Iran, and that's a long time, over unbelievably hostile territory where they have nothing but weapons. We took out their anti-aircraft, which is great. We took out their radar, which is great. We took out a lot, but they still have, what hit this one was a handheld shoulder missile, shooting missile. So it's they're totally whatever. But and they have probably a little luck, because you got to get lucky.
Yeah.
But they shot it, and it got sucked in right by the engine. But these guys were out of there. They were great. Their timing was great. But no, I was told that this is a very dangerous mission. I understood. They didn't say it's a foolish mission. They said, we're going to be sacrificing hundreds of people do this. This is, you have tankers that are flying over this area so that because the flight was so long, they had to refuel.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous mission. I just felt it was worth it. If you would have told me that we would have been successful, gotten both, and nobody was even essentially injured, I would have said that would be impossible. Yeah, Bruce.
Mr. President, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Given that you are now dealing, you say, with a more reasonable, less extreme leadership in Iran, what does that mean for the protesters, for the human rights movement in that country after this conflict?
Well,
What's your
positive.
expectation?
Yeah, if they assume control, if we do something and they assume control, I think it's very positive, a big step. I don't think you'd see the radicalization that you have seen in the last. Look what happened. I mean, women are being executed because they're not properly clothed, they say. They're not properly clothed, and they execute the women. They shoot them right on the street. No, you have a much different group of people. Now, I'm not saying we are dealing with them.
So Patricia has a theory, and I believe that theory that President Trump is talking with the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. That is who he's talking about. So let me know what you think. Do you think he's talking to him or one of the people in the IRGC? Let me know in the chat.
Essentially, they have till 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Eastern time. But we are dealing with them. I think it's going well. Mr. Witkoff is here. Involved in the...
So the deadline is passed.
Sitting right here, and I think it's going fine.
Let me see if anything has happened with bombs dropping. If there are bombs dropping, we are going to be watching some of those updates.
Iran, as of a month ago, not anymore. Right now, they are decapitated. But I'm standing here a month ago with a much more powerful Iran than it was at any point during 47 years. This should have been handled by 7 presidents, a lot of presidents. And those presidents are saying now, every one of them to their friends, we should have done this a long time ago. So it's not something I like doing. It's very dangerous, and we're getting them at the height of their strength. If I didn't terminate the Barack Hussein Obama Iran nuclear deal, they would have had don't forget, that was a path to a nuclear weapon. Remember this. He chose Iran over Israel. Pure and simple. How Israel can vote for a Democrat is if you're Jewish in New York City or any place else in this country, and how you can vote for a Democrat is unbelievable, because he chose Iran, a very hostile Iran. Remember when he filled up a 757 with cash, billions of dollars of cash, and he sent it over to them. Then they gave them tens of billions of dollars. He chose Iran.
Oh, it's not? Oh, yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, so time isn't up yet. Okay.
Qatar, UAE. I mean, you take a look. I mean, I can add Kuwait, and I can add Bahrain, and you can add others. He chose such an unlikely candidate. Nobody could believe it. Frankly,
yeah.
If you're going to choose between Iraq and Iran, he should have befriended Iraq. He went in the exact opposite direction of all thinking, and he made a terrible mistake. But that was a road to a nuclear weapon. And when I terminated that, everyone said, oh, he terminated it. It was one of the best things we ever did, because he had a road to a nuclear weapon. And it was a very short-term deal. You know, countries don't do 10-year deals. Countries do hundreds of years. You don't do a 10-year deal. For a country, you're a landlord and you're renting a store on a certain street, and you give somebody a 5-year or 10-year lease. This is a country. It was a short-term deal. It was ready to expire. I terminated it before it expired. Took a lot of heat, and it was one of the best things I ever did, because he would have had a nuclear weapon. Then he would have had another nuclear weapon, had those beautiful B-2 bombers not gone in 8 months ago, and obliterated that site. And by the way, the word is obliteration. CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't complete.
I remember.
That they still haven't been able to get it. It was obliteration. But if we didn't hit them, that was a courageous decision, too, because we had all those planes flying in at night with very little cover, unbelievable stealth planes, and they were able to do their job. If we didn't do that, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon at a high level, either one of those two instances. And if they did, in my opinion, I told this to Bibi Netanyahu yesterday, Israel would have been extinguished. Large portions of the Middle East would have been extinguished, whether it's Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, or others. And you saw that with thousands of missiles raining down upon them. They didn't think they were going to be hit. They thought they'd be watching us fight. And all of a sudden, UAE got hit by 1,500 missiles.
Yep.
He would have taken them out also. And they were powerful. If I didn't come along and terminate the Obama deal, which was terrible, the Iran nuclear deal was a road to a nuclear weapon, a big one, unlimited, legally. I terminated it without even much thought. It was so easy. I terminated that, and then the B-2 bombers. And I did one other thing. I had killed Qasem Soleimani, who was an evil genius. And the reason I did it, I heard he was going to knock out 5 of our military bases. And had he lived, I believe we would be fighting perhaps a different Iran right now.
There are people who feel comfortable saying that Trump should have waited for an attack from Iran to justify an attack. Essentially, the same people who attacked George W. Bush, for not knowing about the attack on the Twin Towers or not knowing about 9/11, wants Trump to wait until America is attacked and American lives are lost on American soil before he does anything. It's insane. But do you know what? There are people who actually believe that because it's either they are spineless or they are evil. Okay, they are either spineless because they don't want the responsibility of taking care of a problem before it becomes a huge issue for the whole country, or they're evil. They actually want people to die in order to make a point.
Because he's never been replaced, you know. And I did one other, but this one was not picked up. Osama bin Laden. If you read my book, I said you got to take him out 1 year before the World Trade Center came down. So I wish you'd read the book. But you, as a president, to be a good president, I believe you have to have good instincts. And a lot of this is instinct. Yeah, please.
Hold on. Before this, it's crazy that President Trump predicted Osama bin Laden as a problem long before he was president, and he did it in a book a year before 9/11. Okay, no one talks about that. They talk about him like he's unhinged. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but he was able to predict bin Laden.
Mr. President, last week you suggested that Europe should take the lead on reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Has circumstances changed now that you're issuing a direct 48 ultimatum? And
Yeah, this is a nice book plug.
Ceasefire include Israel, or would it just be between Iran
I can't
and
talk
the
about
US?
ceasefire, but I can tell you that we have a active, willing participant on the other side. They would like to be able to make a deal. I can't say any more than that.
You've listed the goals. Excuse me.
Please, go ahead.
You've listed the goals.
Who you with?
My name is Dia Kurd. I'm with the largest Kurdish media outlet, Ruda Media Network. It's based in Iran.
Go ahead.
Mr. President, you said before that you don't want the Kurdish forces to enter Iran and deharm it. Do you still want them to stay away, or what role do you expect them to play now?
I'd rather have them stay away.
And then,
I'd rather have them stay away because I think they bring with them some problems and some difficulties. And I don't think they bring death, to themselves. But I'd rather have them stay away.
They bring death to themselves.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Deliberate attacks on civilian infrastructure violate the Geneva Conventions.
Oh, this is a stupid question.
New York Times. Zolan from the New York Times. Are you
failing?
Are you concerned?
Circulation way down.
Are you concerned that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to
No, not at all. No. I hope I don't have to do it. But again, I just said 47 years they've been negotiating with these people. They're great negotiators, and because they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And if somebody that takes my place someday is weak and ineffective, which possibly that will happen because we had numerous presidents that were weak, ineffective, and afraid of Iran.
Yep.
We're never going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you think it's okay for people that are sick of mind, that are tough, smart, and sick, really sick, from a policy standpoint, from a standpoint, any which way you want to say, mentally, these are disturbed people. If you think I'm going to allow them, and powerful and rich, to have a nuclear weapon, you can tell your friends at the New York Times, not going to happen.
It means violating international law.
Quiet. You no longer have credibility at the New York Times, because the New York Times said, "Oh, Trump won't win the election, and I won in a landslide. I won every swing." Said, "Oh, Trump."
Please rub it in.
New York Times has no credibility. The credibility they have is it used to be all the news that's fit to print. The old gray lady, it was great, but they're running on past fumes, and you can't keep doing that. You have to be able to give the correct news.
Yep.
And people like you, who I know, are fake. You're fake. Go ahead, please.
From the war is coming to an end to war going to be bombing Iran to the Stone Ages. Right. And we've heard a range of those kind of messages. So which is it? Are you winding this down? Or are you escalating?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I can't tell you. Depends what they do. This is a critical period. They have a period of, till tomorrow at 8 o'clock. I gave them an extension. They asked for an extension of 7 days, right? I said, Steve, give them 10 days. 10 days is up actually today, so I gave them 11, I guess, indirectly. I thought it was inappropriate the day after Easter. I want to be a nice person. They have till tomorrow. Now, we'll see what happens. I can tell you they're negotiating, we think, in good faith. We're going to find out. We're getting the help of some incredible countries that want this to be ended because it affects them also. A lot of people are affected by this. But we're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And after that, they're going to have no bridges. They're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah.
All right, we're going to be live streaming. We're going to be live streaming to monitor that tomorrow.
Willing to make a deal that does not include reopening the Strait of Hormuz, or is that now a top priority?
I would say it's a very big priority because, see, that's one thing that's a little different than other things. We can bomb the hell out of them. We can knock them out for a loop. But to close the strait, all you need is one terrorist that somehow has a truck loaded with, because you can carry them in trucks. Trucks.
I don't think they'll cooperate either.
Drop them in the...
What Trump is asking them to do essentially is to surrender. And essentially, they're going to ensure that they don't ever have access to the means to build a nuclear weapon. That is unacceptable to them. They need to have a nuclear weapon in order to have it as a deterrent. A deterrent to countries like the United States and Russia, and an enforcement tool for other countries in the Middle East. Just like we saw, they had thousands of missiles pointed at their neighbors. So imagine them with one nuclear weapon. We've seen what they can do with just regular ordnance. What will they do with an actual nuke?
And now you tell people that own ships that cost $1 billion to don't worry about the mine. You can do that even just by saying we put mines in the water. So it's not like the rest. We can knock out their military. We already have. We've knocked out their Navy. We've knocked out their Air Force completely. We've knocked out 158 ships in 3 days. We've knocked out even their mine droppers. They don't have any mine droppers anymore, but they put them on other boats, and they could drop them. I'm not even sure they have any mines there, by the way. I'm not sure. I'm personally, they say there might be 8. I don't know. I think there might be none because they're very good bullshit artists. That's why for 46 years they've been bullshitting other presidents, and they haven't done the job. And people are living in hell. You live in that country, they're living in hell.
Don't you just love President Trump? He uses all these words that no other president would use, but he's doing things that no other president has done. So are you going to say, oh, he shouldn't be saying that and not acknowledge that he's actually doing stuff they've never done, because he just used the BS word. And of course, they're going to be talking about it tomorrow.
I think that 47 years of this stuff is long enough. They're at the weakest point they've ever been. They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft weaponry, they have no radar, they have no communication. In fact, the biggest problem we have in our negotiation is that they can't communicate. I said to Steve, what are they saying? Sir, they can't communicate. They have no method of communication. So we're communicating like they used to communicate 2,000 years ago with children, bringing a note. They have no communication.
Yeah, he's the content president, bro. He is.
Safe world. Israel will be gone.
Yeah.
Middle East will be gone.
Yep.
And then they're coming for Europe.
Yep.
And I have to tell you, I'm very disappointed in NATO. Very. I think that NATO, I think it's a mark on NATO that will never disappear. Never disappear in my mind. You know, they're coming to see me on Wednesday. They're going to say, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that.
No.
Now they all of a sudden want to send things, you know. But they said it loud and clear at the beginning. When I spoke to UK of all, I would have said they would have.
Should the United States, should the US leave NATO? Let me know in the chat.
Say, yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, should the US leave?
No, sir, we'd rather wait till you win. I said, I don't need help after we win. We have old broken aircraft carriers, barely work. I said, I guess we can use them. Who the hell knows? I called the general. He didn't even want them. He said, we don't really need them. We got the SS Abraham Lincoln, sir. We don't need them. You know, we have, in terms of technology, we had one day 101 missiles going at 2,700 miles an hour, aimed at the Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
101 missiles. Out of 101 missiles, 101 missiles were shot down.
Wow.
Unbelievable technology. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't know if that would have been possible, but 10 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible. 101 missiles heading to a ship that's not that far off the coast. And out of the 101 missiles, we shot down all 101. We have weaponry. The Patriots are unbelievable.
Oh, my goodness.
That's unbelievable, yeah. Go ahead, please. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said earlier today during the egg roll that you would like to take Iran's oil, but Americans want U.S. forces home.
Correct.
What's that trade-off?
If I had my choice, yeah, because I'm a businessman first.
Yep.
With Venezuela, as you know, the war was over in about 45 minutes. And we have great people running Venezuela, very good people. I mean, the relationship is good. And we are a partner with Venezuela. And we've taken hundreds of millions of barrels, hundreds of millions. Over 100 million barrels already is in Houston, refined and out. And paid for that war many, many times over, many times over. You know, the old days, to the victim. Okay, you know that. To the winner belong the spoils.
We're going to talk about NATO when he's done.
To the victor go the spoils. And
yes, that's the way the world works.
That in this country, probably in 100 years, because even the Second World War, you look at the Second World War, we didn't have it with the Second World War. We rebuild all those countries. We rebuild Germany. How about Germany telling us that, well, it's not their war. We had nothing to do with it. They wanted me to go and tell them everything I was doing. We didn't know anything about it. Well, if I would have told them, they would have leaked it.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have been nearly as successful, possibly, right? But to the victor belong the spoils. So we haven't heard that in, I think, maybe hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Now with Venezuela, and we just so you understand, the people of Venezuela, they say if I ran for president of Venezuela, I'm polling higher than anybody has ever polled in Venezuela. So after I'm finished with this, I can go to Venezuela. I will quickly learn Spanish. It won't take too long. I'm good at language. And I will go to Venezuela. I'm going to run for president. But we're very happy with the president-elect that we have right now, the people that are running it. If you remember Bush with Iraq, they fired the generals, they fired the police, they fired the people that worked in their equivalent of the White House, they fired everybody.
And everything crashed.
They had a mess.
Yeah.
You know what happened? ISIS formed. Those generals and those soldiers got together. The police got together. They all got together. They formed ISIS. Not going to happen with us. So Venezuela has been it's been an incredible situation. We went in. We were very successful. Military power like nobody's ever seen. The general, Venezuelan general, said, I was on that site. I said, I've never seen ferocity like that. I've been doing this for 40 years. He said, I've never seen it. They hit us from 17 different, they were all set. They saw that big, beautiful aircraft carrier, the Ford in that case, and planes were pouring off it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So typically when you see that late at night, you know you could be in trouble, right? And we were all ready. They had their equipment. It was Russian. It was all set. They were going to get it right. He said, and then they came at speeds we've never seen. And they came at 17 different angles. The general and his people, that was a lot of angles. They hit him from every angle. He said, we knew it was over in 3 minutes. We were waiting for them. Their equipment didn't work.
Yeah.
And there's a reason it didn't work. Someday we'll explain that to people. They pressed the button, nothing happened. They pressed it again and again, nothing happened. And he said, we knew this whole thing was over in 3 minutes. We've never seen any, he used the word ferocity. The ferocity of these planes from 17 different angles, and it was over. They went inside. And remember, that was on a military base with thousands of soldiers. And those soldiers looked and they said, get the hell out of here. Thousands. We didn't have thousands. We had like 200 people. So we have a great military. And I'll tell you what, somehow this rescue captured the world's attention, more so than normally. You're talking about 2 people. But this rescue captured the world's attention. But we did it in Venezuela. That was amazing. And now we have a very bad man in prison and going to trial. I mean, he released, aside from the drugs, which he was terrible, Maduro released hundreds of thousands of people from jails into our country. Drug dealers, murderers, the worst people in the world were released into our country.
Yeah.
Because we had a stupid president.
America has the good stuff.
We didn't know. And we had a border czar who never went to the border and never once called our great border patrol agents, right? Not once, Kamala. She never called the border patrol. She never said, how we doing? I used to call the border patrol guys every day. You can ask them, Paul, ask any one of them. Brandon, ask them all the time. How are we doing? How are we doing? And we now, I'm proud to say, have a totally sealed border. 9 months, nobody is coming through our border. And nobody even tries because they know they're not going to get through. So we don't have caravans anymore. So maybe 1 or 2 more and we'll be done.
Mr. President, are you allowed to, or are you willing to end this conflict with Iran charging tolls?
What?
Through the strait?
What?
Us charging tolls?
Iran.
No.
Us charging tolls.
Is that what you're considering?
I'd rather do that than let them have them, right?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we? We're the winner. We won, okay? They are militarily defeated.
Yeah.
The only thing they have is the psychology of, oh, we're going to drop a couple of mines in the water, all right? No, we have a concept where we'll charge tolls, okay? I thought you meant us. Your question would have been more accurate if you said us. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
This is your 3rd time.
Successfully meet your deadline tomorrow. Do they have to make a deal, open the strait, or both?
We have to have a deal that's acceptable to me. And part of that deal is going to be we want free traffic of oil and everything else.
President, thank you very much. You said glory be to God in this conflict. Do you believe that God supports the United States' actions in this
I do,
war?
because
And have you
God
sought
is
his direction?
good. Because God is good, and God wants to see people taken care of. God doesn't like what's happening. I don't like what's happening. Everyone says I enjoy it. I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy it. These 2 guys don't enjoy it. You know, people say, "Oh boy, they're so tough." I don't like seeing people killed. I've ended 8 wars. Nobody's ever done it. The person who won the Nobel Prize came to me and said, "You deserve the Nobel Prize." She announced that when they announced, they said, "Goes to Maria. She's a great person, really a good person." She said, "No, no, no. This is ridiculous. They gave me the Nobel Prize. President Trump ended 8 wars. I could go over every one of them, including India and Pakistan, where the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved from 30 to 50 million lives. That makes me much happier than what we're doing right now. That makes me much happier. We have one more to end, by the way.
President, you called yesterday in your Truth Social, you called the Iranians crazy bastards. What is your response to critics who say that...
I don't care about that.
What is your response to critics who say that it is your mental health that perhaps breaks down as this war continues?
I haven't heard that. But if that's the case, you're going to have more people like me, because our country ripped off.
Okay, let's listen to what he has to say, then I'll talk about that
years until I came along.
Dumb statement.
So if that's the case, you're going to have more people. Dasha, go ahead.
You said that very little is off limits in Iran as far as targeting, including power plants, bridges. You've mentioned those.
Very little is off limits.
Are there certain kinds of civilian targets, though? I'm thinking schools,
I don't want to tell you that. I don't want to tell you that. We have a plan because of the power of our military.
This happened before the Crusades.
In Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. We may even get involved with helping them rebuild their nation. And you know what? If that's the case, the last thing we want to do is start with power plants, which are among the most expensive things, and bridges. You saw the bridge. The bridge went. We were very close to a deal. And then I got a call from Mr. Witkoff, Mr. Kushner, and JD saying, I think they're breaking the deal. I said, tell them that's okay. Don't worry about it. But tell them to look out their window and watch. And within 45 minutes, I gave the order to knock out the biggest bridge. I gave the order, knock out the biggest bridge in, I believe, the Middle East, but the biggest bridge in Iran. And within 10 minutes after I gave that order, that bridge was over. So do I want to do that? No. Do I want to destroy it?
Yeah, we're going to see it tomorrow.
No. It will take them 100 years to rebuild.
So bring your popcorn.
Now, if we left today,
we'll see if that happens tomorrow.
20 years to rebuild their country, and it would never be as good as it was. And the only way they're going to be able to rebuild their country is to utilize the genius of the United States of America.
You voiced your displeasure with NATO in the past. Is there a danger to the U.S. not being the de facto of the leader of the alliance, and then other powers within the alliance then getting the decision making when it comes
to
power?
Nuclear weapons?
No, it's not a danger. Look, we went to NATO. I didn't ask very strongly. I just said, hey, if you want to help, great. No, we will not help. I said, that's all right. You don't want to help? Because I've always said NATO's a paper tiger. See, NATO's a paper tiger. Putin's not afraid of NATO. Putin's afraid of us, very afraid of us. And he's explained it to me a lot of times. I got to know him very well. I know him very well. NATO's a paper tiger. NATO is us. And when we needed them, we didn't need them, by the way. We didn't need them, obviously, because they haven't helped at all. Just the opposite. They've actually gone out of their way not to help. They didn't even want to give us landing strips. Think of it. And it's not just NATO. You know who else didn't help us? South Korea didn't help us. You know who else didn't help us? Australia didn't help us. You know who else didn't help us?
That's crazy.
Japan. We've got 50,000 soldiers in Japan to protect them from North Korea. We have 45,000 soldiers in South Korea to protect us from Kim Jong-un, who I get along with very well, as you know. Do you notice he said very nice things about me? He used to call Joe Biden a mentally retarded person, okay? So don't tell me about your stuff.
Oh, man.
Joe Biden, he said he's a mentally retarded person. He was so nasty to Joe Biden. It was terrible. But to me, he likes Trump. And do you notice how nice things are with North Korea? It's very nice. But we have 45,000 people, soldiers, in harm's way, and right next to Kim Jong-un with a lot of nuclear weapons. 45, which should have never happened if a certain president, I'm not going to mention this president because I happen to like him, believe it or not, But if a certain president did his job, Kim Jong-un would not have nuclear weapons right now. But they're all afraid to do their job properly. But just to conclude and just to finish, Japan didn't help us, Australia didn't help us, South Korea didn't help us, and then you get to NATO. NATO didn't help us. There were some countries that did. Now, countries that have been good, now you could also say they're got to be a little bit more involved because they're in the territory, but Saudi Arabia has been excellent, Qatar has been excellent, UAE has been excellent, Bahrain, Kuwait. I mean, Kuwait did shoot down 3 of our planes. The only planes, really, that we lost with friendly fire, they call it. I call it unfriendly fire. They unfortunately didn't know how to use our great Patriots.
Seriously?
Said, what kind of a missile's coming at us? Patriot. Boom, they got out. Because they know a Patriot never misses. So they had beautiful Patriots. They were planes heading in their direction. Unfortunately, they decided to shoot those planes. They were our planes. So, NATO is a paper tiger. Now, he's coming to see me on Wednesday, as you know. He's a wonderful guy. Secretary General is great. And Mark Rutte, he's a great person, but he's got... And, it all began with, if you want to know the truth, Greenland. We want Greenland. They don't want to give it to us. And I said, bye-bye. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right, so guys, so let me just talk about several things here. Okay, Trump saying that God wouldn't have a problem with defending people who are being oppressed by their own country is right. But it's hard to negotiate these conversations around war, killing, and the peace of people who can't defend themselves. So it's a strange conversation to have, but it's also a very common sense and reasonable conversation to be had. I know that there are people out there who don't agree, but you see that in life. Look, people who are in very bad circumstances, like the people of Iran, who believe in a higher power, God, they cry out for help and say, somebody out there, come save us from these crazy bastards, like President Trump called them. And he sends the United States. And then people think that the United States is meant to go over to Iran and play the lute or play the harp and appease the IRGC. That's not how these things work, guys. Okay. And then the statement where he called them crazy bastards, and they're trying to make it sound like he's being unhinged and he needs that President Trump needs his head re-examined. He sent a message and people are like saying that he's unhinged. And you're watching him right here and he doesn't give you that impression of being unhinged. People are just losing their minds over what President Trump is saying, because look, this is the United States is on a war footing. There are war and things are being said because he needs to send a message. And simply being strongly who was it that said that they will send a strongly worded letter? I think it was Biden. So by tomorrow, yes. So by tomorrow, I think we're going to be live streaming tomorrow evening. So we're going to be monitoring the situation very carefully. I hope you consider joining the live stream. Bring your popcorn, bring your beer, bring your pop or soda, or bring your rum, Intergalactic. Okay, so we can talk about what's may or may not happen, but I'm sure that there'll be lots more happening in the news. Meanwhile, I saw this in my feed and I just wanted to play this before we we kind of turn in for the night. This came up and I just wanted to see what your thoughts are about this. The seditious six. have essentially recruited one more person who is asking American soldiers who are in combat to disobey the chain of command.
They're back. The seditious 6 is now 7. They've got a new member, Senator Jeff Merkley. He didn't like Trump's Easter message to Iran, so he's telling our men in uniform to go AWOL. Quote, to our military leaders, remember this. You are legally required to refuse orders to commit war crimes. So what's a war crime? Alyssa Slotkin, one of the original 6, says it's as simple as turning off the enemy's lights. The Times agrees.
Are you concerned that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to...
Yeah, so you have sitting senators asking active duty military personnel to disobey orders. What do you think about that? Like, I have some choice words that go through my mind sometimes, but because I don't use them in normal language, they don't come out. Okay, so you have things like this happening in real time. There's going to be news. Okay, so we're going to be talking about several things during the live stream, and I hope that you will take the time to let me know your thoughts. Intergalactic says, genius of the United States. Yeah, the United States. Look, I don't know about you, but this war essentially has confirmed a lot of things that a lot of us have always known. That the United States military is the premier military operator on the planet. It is. So anyone who tries to say otherwise is just lying to themselves. I mean, the message was wonky, but I know what he meant. They pick on anything he says. Yeah, they do. They pick on anything he says. They twist it. They make it. They try to make it sound like he said something he never said, and then they double down on it and pretend like he wasn't able to defend himself. Like they said for weeks that President Trump hasn't been able to convince anyone that this war is required. I was convinced. Of course, I'm not an American citizen, but I was convinced. So it's a lot. We're going to be going live tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the upcoming deadline. We're going to be looking at what's going on in the news. So we're going to be going live tomorrow night as well. And then we'll just be hanging out. I hope you join us again tomorrow. Tonight was more like me wanting to go live and talk about this press conference and go over the incident of the last weekend. I'm glad we were able to do this. This is it's a longer live stream than I thought we were going to have. But looking at the length of the interview or the press briefing, there was no doubt that this was going to be longer than the usual duration of our live streams. Thank you so much, Intergalactic Wrangler, for being here. Loved our conversations, and I hope you're going to be here tomorrow. If you're here and you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. Usually we have a bunch of people who watch and then they sneak out through the back door without saying hi. Come on, don't be rude. Say hi. Tell us where you're watching from. Just say hi. You don't have to have an opinion. Just say hi, and I would love to know where you're coming from. And consider subscribing, liking, and sharing this video, this live stream. Special announcement: this channel was just recently monetized, so you have the ability to give super chats and super thanks and gift memberships and so on. All of it is available right now. So please consider supporting the channel that way. It's been a long road. This particular channel was set up in September, and suddenly there was a growth spike, and we got monetized only a few days ago. So please consider supporting us that way. The main channel remains the main channel for shorter content. Live streams would only be dual streamed occasionally, but all the live streams are happening here. Intergalactic Wrangler, Mackheimler, Patricia, Canary Kin, and the rest of you who, Tony, how could I forget Tony, who have connected to me and the content, largely, came in through the live streams. And it bothered me for a long time that I wasn't able to connect with you that way. Guys, I have missed you guys. I have missed live streaming every day, twice a day. I have missed it. But I needed to work on something about the main channel that was bothering me, and I think I figured it out. Intergalactic Wrangler says, good stuff and good night. I show up when I can. Stay safe. Yeah. And I look forward to having you on the live stream. So we're going to be doing more live streams. Tomorrow night is going to be another hangout. Hope you're able to join. And then we can look at whether Trump gives the order to bomb the bridges and power plants, or there's going to be a deal struck. Well, let's hope a proper deal is struck, not just a deal, because the Iranian people have put a lot on the line as well. And if the wrong people take over and continue from where the last supreme leader stopped, it's not going to be nice. It's going to leave a sour taste in everybody's mouth, and it's not going to sound like victory. Okay, for the Trump administration. It's going to be a weird situation. So we'll keep our eyes open on that. All right, guys, we're going to be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and I'll catch you on the next one. God bless you. Good night.